And can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Is my screen up yet?
Yes, it's up.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, the for CMAs, or if there's any questions specific to Matrix, I can maybe go through some of those first. If anybody has any questions, maybe not even related to CMAs. If not, we can move forward with that. All right.
Alex,
For
did you-
the
I'm
oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
Eric. Alex, do you have a
Sorry.
question?
Yes,
Oh,
but I
yes.
was trying to find my screen. Okay, last night I was trying to do a CMA, but I can't actually find the location. Like I found the tax ID and everything like that, but I can't actually like get the actual location to do a CMA. It only gives me the address from the other side, or from the right and the left side, but not the actual address that I need.
The address of the subject property. Okay.
Yeah.
What you couldn't find it in Matrix, or you couldn't find it through the
No, I
county?
can to do a CMA.
Okay. But you found it through the county website.
Yeah,
And what was the address?
the address is, let me get it for you. It is showing. Okay, it just says North Carolina Street. It doesn't have a number.
So it's vacant land. Likely it's vacant land.
Well, I mean, you can say it's vacant, but there's a home on there. It used to be
Okay.
like a mechanic shop.
Okay. All right, let me see what we can do with that. Well, maybe we'll
But
just use that.
according to the owner, it's 1220. That's the address, 1220 North Carolina Street.
Okay, well, we'll utilize that for our. Okay, so I'm gonna go to HCAD. Do you mind sharing this, Alejandra? And
Oh, no,
using
yeah,
this
go
as
for it.
our subject? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And bear with me, guys. I actually am plugged in with a Cat6 wire. But Zoom does take a lot of information. You said it was 1222?
1220.
1220, okay.
No, I had to end up asking him for his like name because I was like, I cannot find anything. I tried to put in the ad like just the street name.
Right. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's, what information do you have that I can use? Or will 1220 come up?
No, so I actually put in his name, but if you put in, do you want me to give you the property ID?
Go for it, yeah.
It's 176207.
Perfect. Okay, hold on, I gotta move some stuff here. And this is it, correct?
Yes, that one's it. Sorry.
All right, and you visited the property already, Alejandra?
Yes.
Okay. Then what we'll do is, there's a couple ways we can do it. But we'll just start a CMA. And then
Sorry.
it's going to keep your CMAs for 180 days. I recommend that once you've completed one, you go ahead and just save it to a file folder. That way you always have it. If it's for a listing, you can keep it in that file folder. Once you do get the listing and you open up zip forms, you can put it into zip forms. That way you have a record of it in there as well, for yourself and for anybody that may need to see it. So we're going to start a new CMA. That's be at the bottom left. And then if it's a new contact, you'll create a new contact. I'm just going to go ahead and put one for test. And then we can go to your pages. Once you're on your pages, if on your left side, these are all the available pages that you might want to use, depending on if it's a listing or a buyer. If you're going to do a CMA, or when you do a CMA for a buyer, I pretty much leave mine the way that we see them here, whether it's a buyer or seller. I believe that less than 15% of the people actually even read through any of it when I've asked them. So nevertheless, this is our information on our subject. Since this, of course, is a brand new property, you can put in your tax ID information here. If not, if it was an actual MLS listing for a buyer, you can put it in there. For here, we'll go ahead and get that information. And let's see what it does. Is it a 4-bedroom, 3-bath? Alejandra?
Oh my God. Well, I guess it has a home, but it's like super destroyed. So I don't remember, honestly.
Oh,
when I
okay,
went
so
there.
is there any value to that structure?
I don't think so, because the roof is falling in. There's no like electrical wiring because I guess he had squatters at some point, so they took out all the electrical. Sorry.
Okay. In the event that, well, let me go back. I'm sorry, hold on. Under the subject,
Mhm.
it will be a little difficult to do an accurate CMA if we don't have some information on the property. As much information as you can fill out would be best.
Okay.
Property type, beds and baths and stuff, only because we're going to need to match apples to apples. So on this particular one, we'll do it as if it was vacant land. And if there's no added value to that structure, it will be a little difficult to add value to it, more than likely, because whoever's going to purchase it may end up having to tear it down depending on how dilapidated it actually is. On your cover sheet, it's going to have your information. If you don't show information of yourself on this page, then we need to actually go in and input your information of yourself with your photo and all that sort of information. If you happen to visit the property prior to doing the CMA, once you're outside of the property, if you can snap a quick photo, that shows a little bit of extra work, and you can upload that photo here. You'd save it, of course, onto your desktop or something, and then you can go ahead and upload it here. If you're competing with multiple agents, that may show a little bit better that you took that extra time as well. And then under comparables, of course, we will need to find some comparables. So what I'm going to do is, since I don't know this property, I'd like to go ahead and map it to see exactly where it is, specifically since there's no address listed for it. Well, you gave me an address, right? Let me see what I can do with that. So once you're on the matrix deal, and if you have a non-Apple device, if you press Control and click on any one of these, but I just click on my matrix, it will open up a new tab for you, and you can have multiple tabs open at the same time. I'm going to move this to a new window. So let's go with vacant land. And let's see if that address pulls anything up. Bear with me. No, it's not. Okay. That's not a big deal. We'll just go back to the map. It's even taking longer. Alejandro, you know a little bit better than I would where the property would be on a map.
Yeah, sorry, I had to mute.
No, not a problem, not a problem. Where exactly is it? Just a couple of cross streets or something, maybe.
It's on Inspiration and Mile 4.
Okay.
Hey, Eric, if you go to the HCAD, it'll give you the map on there where exactly it is.
Yeah, except the only thing is that it is still attempting to load just the map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to cheat a little bit. Inspiration and Mile 4, so somewhere right around here, right? And I'm gonna go out 2 miles just because I don't want to have to do this again. Okay. All right, here we go. So we're gonna go sold. And of course, you can go out 365 days. For this particular property, we may have to do that. If it's a regular residential, what I've been doing is starting out with 90 since the market is moving so fast, and then going up to about 180. So this one, the subject property said it was 1.31 acres. So it's up to you how specific you want to get. I'm going to go with 0.75 to 2 to see what we can find. Just within that information right here, we've already got 3 that are within our map area, within 2 miles. So we'll check the results on those. And we got 1.74, 1.29, and 1.91. So those are all going to be probably really good. This one right here is the farthest one out, 1.8 miles. And it's at the closest to 1.29. This one is stating that it's commercial, zone commercial, agricultural,
Eric.
and then residential. Yes.
Is the screen changing? Because I don't see.
Oh,
any
no.
screen.
Okay.
No.
Anybody else see anything? I'm at the criteria, at the results screen.
It looks like, no se cambia la.
It's on the
No, I
tax.
think
It
you're
looks like
both.
the 8th CAD.
Yeah, it's on the tax records.
Oh, really? Oh, wait. Okay. Hold on. I wonder if since I moved to a new tab,
Probably.
okay. Let me see what I can do.
Sometimes I have to unshare and then reshare. to get
Okay,
pick
I
up.
see what you mean. Yeah, new share. Okay, let me try that. All right, sorry about that, guys. I was way ahead then. Okay, let me go back. under criteria, what I did, do you see this screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for stopping me, Gina. Okay, so I went with sold to 180 days. Okay. I had already done the map area selected, which was from the point of 4 Mile and Inspiration, and I went out 2 miles. I think it ended up being 2.01. And then I put my acreage from 0.75 to 2. That way I would be within a closer range. You can put from half an acre to 5, depending on what you need to, how broad you need to get to find something, period. I typically will start small on the time frame and then work my way up to find something. We've already got 3 matches within 6 months within this range. So the results are here. And like I said, one of them was 1.74, the other one is 1.29 and 1.91. Here's the list price. Your display that's right here, I already have some of mine that are set. So I go to my sold single line and it'll show me the closed price. Okay. If it was residential, it'd show me the price per square foot and stuff that it sold at. So these right here, I'm going to go ahead and use these. So I'm going to click all of them here and I'm going to go to cart and I'm going to go to new cart. And I'm just going to put your name on it, Alejandra. And you can also create a new contact here if you had not done that yet. Here on this particular one, I will go through and do the search for the comparable properties prior on another tab like I'm doing here. And then I'll just leave it open. That way, if I have any questions on when I get further down the analysis as to the specifics, to make sure they all, let's say, had a granite or that they all had a tile countertop and I need to make any adjustments, I can always go back and review the photos and not stop what I'm doing on the CMA open tab. So we'll save those. It'll tell you that they're listed here. From here, let me know if it goes to the other page. Did it go back to my CMA on your guys' screen? No, it did not. Okay. All right. Are you back to seeing the selected listing comparables?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and add from cart. And let's see where we're at. Oh, I can't even find it. Oh, here. Wait for a minute for it to refresh. And then once again, we'll have to click here. And then you'll add selected. You can map it. The only deal is if we don't have an actual address, well, unless the HCAT will help us. Yeah, we don't have the subject property could not be mapped because we didn't locate it prior. I would have to go back, and that might be something that we would do. You might have to go back to the subject. And here's where we would go in and map it. Let me see what we can do here. So right around here, right, Alejandra?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and place a pin right around here. So that now when we go to the map, we'll be able to see where it is. So here we'll go to adjustments. We'll do another, I think we'll have time. We'll do another residential one. But here's where you'll have all the bedrooms, all the baths, if it has a pool, the year built, garage spaces, the acreage and square footage. So let's see. Okay, since it's doesn't have the square footage, we're not going to get a value here, right? So what we would do on this particular one is I go back to adjustments, and I'm going to go to the acreage. So, and I don't know, this probably won't come up, and I'm not going to show you the calculator part. I'll just verbally tell you as I go through it. But you would go through and you would put 1.29 plus 1.74 plus 1.91, and you get the average of those three. Okay, and it's going to come up with 1.64666. So we're going to go with 1.65 is the average acres that are used. And then here on the adjusted price, we're not making any adjustments, but on the adjusted price, you're going to go with the low of 112.7. And the high of 115. You're going to divide that by 2, and you're going to come up with 113,850. And then at that price, you would divide it by the 1.65 acres that we used for our analysis. And we'll find that the average price would be $69,000 per acre in this analysis that we've used right here. So with that being said, 69,000 times the 1.31, that would give us a value of 90,390 under current market conditions, based on properties that were within 2 miles of the subject property that have sold within the last 180 days. So when you go to your pricing area here, you must put some sort of information, whether it be in the notes or in here. Because if you go to finish and you view the CMA, we'll wait for a minute on that. Oh, delete it. Hold on real quick. Let me just type this in before I forget it. Now it's going to do it. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me take this out real quick. Bear with me, guys. Share. It's going to take just a minute for it to load that CMA. Pricing. Okay, let me do a new share real quick. Okay, do you see the PDF on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to have about 24 pages, depends on how many comps you're going to use and if there's any photos or anything like that. Typically, it's going to be on page 14 or 15 will be the actual pricing recommendation is what it's called. And if you didn't input any information, it's just going to give you this. So in here, the suggested list price is where we have to input some information. So I'm going to leave you guys on there real quick. And that way I can show you. I went back and added that value inside there. It only gives you a certain number of characters that you can type in there. So you need to be as concise as possible. The notes part, I believe, lets you input up to 1,000 characters. Whereas it's 1,000 characters. The other one is about 300 or 250 or something like that. Do you see this new one here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And here I added I put in the number, okay, of 90,390. So here's the other one if you had not put any information in there. And then here is the other one. And here for notes, if there's anything that's specific, I just did one on Saturday, and it was a house that was not updated. All the comps in the subdivision, in and around the subdivision that had sold at similar price that the seller was listing at, had already been remodeled for the most part. So in the notes section is where I put in the reasoning why we were coming in lower than the list price, and taking into consideration the work that had been done at the other properties that had brought it up to not only move-in ready, but also more up to date. So that one was kind of quick, guys. I understand. Is there any questions in that real quick analysis?
Hey, Eric,
Yes.
do you mainly use matrix versus RPR?
Yeah, I only use matrix. I rarely use RPR. If it's a property, I did one for an investor that's a friend of mine. I had to. It was over in San Benito, so for that particular one, I did have to use RPR because I didn't have access to that information, and was able to come up with somewhat of an analysis for him. I'm not going to say I don't feel comfortable using it. I need to figure out how to adjust the pages, because one of the main pages that it has automatically shows you what their AVM is. And then it says your analysis. And in my experience, a lot of people try to pull towards that higher value that it shows. So I haven't really looked into it, but I haven't figured out how to delete that part and just let them see what after the analysis shows, not just the 1-star value that RPR came up with. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Does
yes,
anybody-
please. Thank you.
Does anybody have another address that we can do?
I got an address, Eric.
Okay,
3401 Cornell Avenue, McAllen, Texas.
Pernell, P-E-R-N-E-L?
No, Cornell, it's Cornell
Okay.
Avenue.
Is that one by any chance already in the system?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Is there an MLS number for it?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
352528. Oh,
Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Let me share the screen. Sorry, I keep toggling back and forth.
no, you're good.
Okay, 3401. All right, perfect. Well, we'll just do it like this. So are you seeing this screen right here, guys, where I just put in the address under the map area?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go with 90 days. Let's see what we can find. And it defaults to 0.25. So I'm always of the mindset, the closer the better. By any chance, do you have the square footage of the property?
Yes, it's 2,333.
Okay, so in this case, and I'm not going to share the calculator with you guys, but what I do is 2033 minus 15%, and that gives us a number of 305. Okay, so we're going to have a range of 1728 square feet. And we're going to add 15% to it to give us the other side of it, which is going to be 2338. So we're going to use a 15% up and down range of square footage to help us kind of concise the database. Okay, so 1728 to 2338 is going to be where we're going to be working with. So within 0.25 miles, nothing has sold within 90 days. Okay, so we're going to go to 180, see what we can find. And still nothing. So let's go to half a mile now. And we've got 4. So that'll be perfect, more than likely. But we do, of course, need to review them. So have you seen the property already?
I have a quick question.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
When you're doing the criteria, Eric, I know Mac has told us this before, but I just want to be sure. Do we go back time before distance?
You can go back. Yeah, probably you go back time before distance. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me see. Let me go back here and go to 365. And that would be actually, I mean, depending on, well, see, even that we only have 1. Okay. And that would probably be something to do as well, because when you see an appraisal report, the appraiser puts if the market is for lack of a better description, stagnant, increasing or decreasing. Okay. And that shows, helps whoever's looking at it on the other side, on the lender side, to see why his value is so much lower or so much higher than maybe the sales price that they're trying to match, or figure out why the subject property is how can I put it? To figure out why the subject property has moved so much, whether it's one way or the other. On this particular one, of course, we went to 1 year and it is only showing 1 match. Do y'all see that on the same screen? Or did I lose you all? Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here's the first property. So the first thing that we need to do, other than going through under your criteria and adding all the slab and the roof type and stuff like that, and having to add all sorts of things, I find it to be a little bit easier just going through and looking at the descriptions of the property as far as the features that it has, okay? The main thing, of course, is going to be to look at the photos, okay? So as you look through the photos, you'll be able to see if this one is inferior, superior, or actually comparable to the subject property, okay? So it is, of course, I find it to be very important to visit that subject property, especially if it's a listing. This one's new construction. I didn't pull up the HCAD on this 3401 Cornell. Is this a new build or is it a older home?
It was built in 2018.
Okay.
They lived in it for a few months, and then the only thing that I don't know how to discount, I guess, the price or take off the amount is because it has flood damage throughout, so they're gonna have to repair that. Seller doesn't want to repair it.
Okay. Did they not have insurance, I guess?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So the year built, bear with me real quick. Okay, so we got 2008. You said this was 2018, right? And these are all really new
Right,
builds.
2018.
I'm going to change this to that sold deal just to see what they sold at. So those are all values, okay. New construction is going to give you probably for this particular example for this subject property, new construction is probably going to give you a good range of value, especially since this is only 2 years old, going on 3, and it needs work to be done to be able to let you know what the full value would be had it not had any damage, or close to full value had it not had any damage, and no work to be done. How much work needs to be done at the property?
Pretty much the water went throughout the house, so it's all the bottom, maybe like half a foot.
Okay.
That needs to be replaced, sheetrock, and doors.
And all the doors, okay. So all the trim, typically they're gonna go up about 2 feet. For
Yeah.
sure, they're gonna wanna go up to where the receptacles are, the plugs are, just to make sure there's no damage in any of those.
Right.
And then, so all that trim's gonna need to be redone. Is it all tile already?
It is all tiled, everything else is good. The seller did say that the builder went in and took a look at it, and it said that it would be a repair of about $4,000. That's what he allegedly said.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay, let's go through this real quick and well, first I do need to go through it to check. Hold on. So, well, you said it was 2018, so we're going to be pretty good. Even this older one, I'm going to open it up real quick. We're all still on the same screen, right? We're seeing this brown house.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So even this one at 2008 does have granite, it does have tile. Those look to be at least 20-inch tiles. And likely comparable. Was that carpet? Yeah, it did have carpet. Oh, granite tile, granite flooring. So let's use these. So we're going to go back to the single line. Once again, we go to the cart. We add them to the cart. Susanna, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then, so now we got to go back. So let me change screens real quick. And the new share. So this one, do test again. And then what was that? I didn't write it down. What was the MLS number?
It's 352-528.
Do the photos show the damage?
No, no, they don't show them. I don't even think, I think you just put the front of the house photo.
Oh, okay. Motivated seller.
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you something real quick, guys. This may not come up on this 2020 properties, but these custom fields that are here, you can put whatever you want inside there. You would just enter the custom field. You can link it to a matrix field. If there's anything you need to add, this is where you would add them. And as you go through and do your CMAs, this is where you would go in and input. So you do a search for it, and then add it. One of the main ones that I have is the seller concession amount, because that's not it's not an automatic option that's inside matrix, and I'll show you that when we get over there. So okay, so here's the property. It is already mapped because we have the location. Comparables or cover, I'm sorry, will show us everything here. You can put in the information once again of your contact, and then the comparables, we've already went and did that. So we're just going to go and find them from the cart or add them from the cart. Okay. They're all within half a mile. Map it just to make sure. And then adjustments. On the adjustments for residential, I think in our Facebook group, Mac had already shared documentation on maybe it was a Robbie English or a Candy Cook class that gives you values. I already have those set in here, and I have them set on different values of sales price, depending on the square footage of the home, and of course the final value. As you move up in price, the values will move up as well as far as your adjustments are concerned. So even though we're working with similar square footage, being within 15% of the square footage, there is a cost to the builder for the fixtures within another bedroom, within the same square footage. So there's cost for a door, there's cost for the handset of the door, there's cost for the hinges, there's cost for the added plugs, there's cost for the 2x4 studs, there's cost for the trim, there's cost for the added insulation. If there needs to be any insulation in there, there's cost for the light fixtures, there's cost for the Romex, there's cost for the bypass door, closet area. For anything you can think of that entails that bedroom, there is an added cost to the builder to do that. So I do try to take that in consideration when I do my analysis. Here, the value I've put for this one is $2,500. So it's showing an addition in price of $2,500 to get it to be the 4-bedroom. Okay. For a half bath, I have $1,750. For a full bath, if there was, I've got $2,500, $3,000, and $3,500, depending on the price range. Once you put them in there, the system will recognize that, and it'll remember those. You can also go by age as well. Typically, anything within 5 years is going to be considered similar in build type. After that, you can make some adjustments. I typically will go to the photos to verify that that needs to happen. This one already had granite countertops. I'm assuming that the subject property did. I didn't go through and look at it. But just to move forward, we're gonna leave that one the same. And here we go with our square footage range. And then here's the seller concession amount. So this does play a factor into the final sales price that if I didn't factor this in, I do feel I may be doing a disservice to, oops, not that much, to the analysis. So I always add this in because 8540 is a big difference in price. So now we have our adjusted prices here. If I didn't make any of these adjustments, and I should have probably done that first, so let me just do that real quick. Okay, automatically, just from right at this point, you can go to pricing. And, oh, this one doesn't give us the price. That does happen from time to time. And it happened today. So that means that there's an error somewhere along the line in the input of the subject property in Matrix. Okay, that was happening a lot when we first changed over because it was pulling information from Navica and it wasn't meshing. This one in particular, they didn't put something somewhere in the system. So this actually is going to work perfect for us because we're going to have to do the math. In the event that this happens to you, this is the math that you would need to do to come up with a value and not just whatever the system pumped out for you. So we go back to adjustments. And this is going to take a little bit of math. I did it earlier on the other one, but it's the same math all over again. Okay. We're on the same screen, right? Where I just put in all those seller concession amounts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so here you're going to go with your calculator, whether it's the one on your phone or on your computer. And similar to what we did on the, let's see if I can move this real quick. Bear with me. Similar to what I did on the other one, we're going to do it here. So you're going to go with your square footage totals. If you just slide the dial over here, you'll get the square footage. So we're going to go and we're going to use all four of these, right? So 1759, we're going to add all these numbers up, 1996, 2164, and 1977. We're going to get the 7896, we'll divide that by 4. And our average square footage is 1974 square feet. Then we're going to go with our adjusted price because we've made adjustments to it. If you didn't have to make any adjustments whatsoever, you would just use these prices. But what you're going to do is you're going to go with the low of 193,250 and the high of 264. And then, of course, divide that by 2, and that's going to give us an average price of 228,625, and that is the low and the high. So with that number, we're going to divide it by our average square footage of our comparable properties, and that's going to give us a number of 115.82 per square foot. We already know that this subject property is 2033. So 2,033 square feet times the 115.82 gives us 235,462. Hold on, I gotta write this down. Should that property be move-in ready, right? We already know that there's some work that needs to be done. So you'd go to your pricing. And of course, we have to put the information in here. I have already, I have a detailed verbiage that I have saved on a Microsoft Word document that I add into all of my into this box right here, and it literally fits perfect, whether it's English or Spanish. It literally fits perfect inside here with the 250 characters that we have to play with. In a nutshell, what it states is, well, let me find it real quick and I'll show it to you. Bear with me real quick. And you can come up with whatever information you want. Oh, it's not on this one.
I think I have it, Eric.
Did I send it to you already?
Yes, do you want me to read it?
Well, I'm gonna just copy and paste it onto that way we can see it. And you can take a screenshot or. And then I always come up with a range. Guys, I don't ever use an exact number. If you're working with the seller's going to take the higher number. If you're working with a buyer, the buyer's going to take the lower number. So, and my range will range in value depending on the price of the subject property. So for properties under, let's say, 150,000 or 120,000, I may give a range of value, maybe $2,500 to $3,500 up and down. And then when we get to the higher properties, maybe your range is closer to 7,500. For this particular one, we said 235, 462. So I probably with this $200,000 range, I'd probably go closer to the 7,500 range. But nevertheless, that information is what I would put here, that range. So I use the 235, 462, and I'll go down $3,500, and then I'll go up $3,500. But this is what I include in every single one. Utilizing sales that have closed in the last, this would change, of course, to 6 months, that are within 15% of the subject property's square footage, and within, whether it was 0.25 miles or 1 mile or 2 miles of the subject property under current market conditions, the range of price should be within, and then this is where you input your information. And then here is where we would input our notes. So here's where I would take some time to type in that we already know that there's flood damage. The seller's agent has stated to us that it was that they have been quoted $4,000. I would probably venture to tell you I doubt that is a accurate amount, Susie.
Yeah, I think so too.
That would likely be my cost as a builder to do it, but I'd also still have to pay somebody labor to do that, and the labor to do that is at a minimum 4 different trades that need to go in. You're gonna need somebody to do the demolition. You're gonna need the insulation guy to go back in, because they're gonna have to put new insulation, just those first 2 feet, hopefully just the first 2 feet. You're going to need a trim guy. You're going to need a sheetrock guy, hopefully a very good sheetrock guy. You're going to need the tape and float guy. You're going to need a texture guy. Hopefully that's the same guy. Then you're going to need painter. And then also you're going to need an electrician to go in and make sure that nothing was damaged either. And hopefully there's no remediation of microbial growth, any mold in that property. So,
Right.
but this is where we would put all that information in the notes section. Now, of course, our value of 235, that would be a move-in ready home, and that's where I would note all this. And then it's really up to the buyer to kind of guide you where they want to go. 235, of course, is not the price of the home. What did they have it listed at, by the way? I didn't even
At
check that.
235, actually.
At 235?
Yeah, it's 235 exactly.
Okay, well, I mean, it's priced correct if it was,
Mhm.
if it didn't have any
Yeah,
damage.
we didn't want the damage. Yeah.
So, anyway, once you go through whatever information that you put in there, in the suggested list price or the notes section, like I stated earlier, will come out when you run the CMA. Now, I always view the CMA, save it, like I said. I've got individual tabs for the different, individual folders for the individual buyers that I'm working with, and then the individual properties as well. I'll send the CMA via email with a PDF on there. Pretty much what I copied and pasted as the verbiage that's on there is pretty much how I go about the email that I send to the prospective buyer, or your buyer client, letting them know the value. Like I said, very few people actually read through that information. I pretty much get a phone call saying, okay, let's make an offer of the bottom side. So, but like I said, once you go down, it's typically page 14 or 15. The way I have it set up, it might be different for everybody else. Here you go, page 15. And there it is. We're all on the same screen, right? We're seeing the PDF?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So, and there's a lot of information on here. Of course, this is not the correct price, right? I didn't do the math and back it up 7,500 or 3,500 and 3,500 or 3,750, I should say, sorry. To input that information in there. So, any questions, guys?
Are there any pages that you don't use or you basically suppress from Matrix?
Yes, there are some. Let me see if I can go backwards here. I'm on the wrong screen. Hold on real quick. Yes, there are some that I have. Not many. One time I sent an RPR, which is like 78 pages, to a client, and I didn't really read through it, and he did. And he had a lot of really good questions that I hadn't reviewed what I had sent him specific. I figured, man, hardly anybody reads through all this. And it was when I was using RPR. So I like to think that a lot of the information, the more you share, the better, specifically to cover ourselves. But I think if I were to look through, I think there's some of them that I have taken out. But these are all the ones that are available. So let me see. Like
I
this one,
noticed in the-
my guarantee to you, I think that one I took out. Go
I
ahead.
was
I'm
going to tell
sorry.
you in the beginning, there is a couple pages that are like cover sheets. I just
Right.
wanted to see which one is the main one that you use.
Cover sheet with a photo, because it's going to have my photo on there. And then the summary list, the price adjustments, we can go through these right now. The comparables, I think I probably used all of them, minimums and maximums, days in the market, list price and sheet, CMA brief, pro report, and pricing recommendation. Yeah, it's under the static one that I removed a couple of them. Activity versus timing. My guarantee to you is the one that I have removed. Effective overpricing, benefits of using a realtor. I do have it, but I moved it down. Because you can move these on this side, you can move them up and down to where what you think is more important. The pitfalls of overpricing, setting the price. Yeah. And then of course the math. And you can also upload custom pages If you have something that's specific to your team, specific to information that you want to share, whether maybe it be a bio of yourself, you can go ahead and upload that. That way it always comes out in your CMA, in your analysis that you send.
Eric, I might have missed it, but in that CMA that you just did, for example, was there an absorption rate in there somewhere?
No, absorption rate, no. That would probably be something if for a listing that we're going to be working with, that would be a good thing to do. It doesn't have it in there automatically, but that might be or that would be a good page to do. And I changed screen, sorry. That would be a good part of an analysis to do. And then you can save it on your desktop and you could upload that specific for that particular property, especially if it's right now, maybe we don't need absorption right now for the most part of a lot of properties. Eventually, of course, we will get back to what we were used to. But for somebody that's overpricing their property, like the property that I did an analysis on Saturday, that one, that's a client that did over, that they're trying to get a lot of money in today's market just to see if they can. That house had already been on the market for 143 days and it had gone under contract once and fell through. But that would be a good example of doing an absorption rate analysis and then adding it as a custom page.
Yes.
And then making sure that is going to be one of the top pages that you do to show them this is the price that you said you wanted to list it at. And to make sure that, like I said, I don't think a lot of people read through it. They may look through the first couple of pages, but after that, they just want to know what the value is. What's the number that you came up with? What are you telling me that the price for my home should be? So on that particular one, I mean, like I said, you can move these up and down and maybe put your pricing recommendation at the very top. And include an absorption rate. But no, this does not have by default, this particular one doesn't have an absorption rate.
And the absorption rate can be found through doing the basic search, which you already had on one of the CMAs, and going to the print portion of that.
Yeah, hold on, let me see. Hold on.
Just so everybody sees where it's at, because you're absolutely right with agents out there talking like they are about how there's a shortage of listings and prices are going up and all this good stuff. We are seeing more and more, and it's not just us here in the Valley, it's other places as well, where sellers are saying, well, if that's true, then I want this much for it. And I was reading through a feed this morning where a home was horribly overpriced. The agent for it, there was comments being made about the home and the agent actually seen it and jumped in. It's what her response was, that's what the seller wants. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Well, our job is to educate them. As long as you have that documentation that you've educated them, then we'll work with whatever we have. But the other part of it is, if we don't have that documentation, then there's a problem. And that absorption rate can help them see, hopefully, along with everything else you've done, help them see where they should be priced at if they're really seriously trying to sell. In her case, she eventually came back and said it's a builder and he doesn't really care whether he sells it or not because it's getting attention for his subdivision. And she didn't care. She sold 3 other properties off of it. One of them was twice the price of what he was wanting on his. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was here. I don't think we're on the same screen again. What I did real quick, guys, see, make sure we're on the same screen. So here are the subject or the comparable properties that we used. You're talking about a quick CMA, right, Mac?
Normally I normally go from the home screen based on the.
Oh,
search.
from the home
Yeah.
screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get away from this.
So just for right there, for example, you can go to, should be able to go to print, actually,
Oh, okay, hold
you
on.
know what you have.
And go to print.
Should be able to, yes. But you only had solds in that though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not gonna show, that's not gonna show it.
Oh, okay.
But where it's at is down at the bottom of that one.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back. Let me do this.
Right there. So we want active,
Yeah.
active option pending and sold.
Okay. And sold.
Right, and sold, you could say the last 90 days or 180, whatever.
Well, we got 7, so let's go with that.
So again, if you guys, for those of you that's seeing this for the first time, if you did this on your search where you were doing this, the CMA, you'd have the stats for that CMA. It gives you a couple options, but go to, right, select all, right, go to print, yes. And then you want to drop down to the bottom to the 1004.
Mhm.
And you can do either summary or detail. Detail is usually better. And print PDF. With the absorption rate, for those of you that haven't messed with it, that tells you what's being absorbed into the market, and we'll give you the percentages. There you go. There you go. So you have the current 3 months, and then 4 to 6 and 7 to 12, which is a good tool. If you're actually running through the entire thing here, it's a good tool to use for the seller to let them know what's happening. Higher the price, the longer it's going to be on the market, et cetera. And it gives you an opportunity to actually show them, let them actually see what's actually happening within the market. All right. Appreciate that, Eric. Thanks.
Yes.
Anybody have any other questions for Eric? You go ahead and stop the share then, Eric.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Awesome job, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric. Thank you,
Thank you,
Eric.
Just as a note, if for those of you that were staying tuned with what Eric was talking about, when you start on your CMA location, and Gina was asking questions about this as well. Your location is the key, right? Location, data cell, and the size are the 3 main factors. Location, data cell, and size. And you may have to adjust. One of the crazy things about this business for us and for the appraiser is there's not a black and white, this is the way you do it. So it's all based on your education, your judgment. So if I go location and I look within the subdivision, for example, and I find there's only 1 cell, and I go 6 months, only 1 cell. I go a year, there's only 1 cell. Then for me, what I'm probably going to do is go out a little bit. just based on the way I've done business. However, you can go back, appraisers will go back 2 years. So location, data cell, and then the size of the property. And you want them to be as much alike as possible. And Eric touched base on that a couple times. He's talking about the square footage and the rooms and et cetera. You want them to be as alike as possible. So a 1-story doesn't match with a 2-story, right? There's things you need to take a look at there. If you don't have a choice, then you might have to work with something else with that. The other thing is, how do I find out what the value is for something different? Let's say the home has a 3-car garage and everything else in that basic area has a 2-car garage. How do I determine what the value is of that? And that's what they call a paired analysis. So what you need to do is find out what homes with 3-car garages are selling for. Again, location, data cell, and size versus homes with 2-car garage. And that difference in that value will tell you what that 1-car garage is worth. Does that make sense? I use that just as an example, but it's like that with just about anything that stands out. And there's a group, Eric mentioned a couple of the other instructors, Kenny Cook and Robbie English. Robbie English has the TREE group, Texas Real Estate Education Group. And I follow both of those because there's a lot of good information that goes in and out in those groups. And in Candy's group, there's a bunch of appraisers in there as well that'll throw their 2 cents in all the time. And it's one of the key things that comes with this and why our CMAs are so important is because we're trying to, especially on the listing side, we're trying to get the same price that an appraiser would probably come up with. And I've said it before, back